Welcome to another episode of UJ Sport on UJTV. My name is Collen Maepa and I'm excited about today's episode as we speak to the UJ Athletics Club. Of course, with me in studio today, we've got the athletics coach and manager, Roger Haitengi, as well as the coach within the club, Lyle Wenzel, who's going to talk to us about some of the athletes that they've been coaching as club members within the team. And of course, we're going to look at the events that are upcoming, reflecting on a previous year, as well as looking at some of the upcoming international events coming up for our athletes, for South Africa, for our universities, of course. Roger and Lyle, thank you for your time. Welcome to this episode. Roger, please just take us through some of the events that have happened in January. I know some of your athletes have already broken records. Leandri, Holzheisen, Udeme, Ugon as well, and as well as Shelly Nekubui as well in the different events that happened so far. Please just take us through what has happened, how has the preparations been, and what do you anticipate this year?
Yeah, thank you for having us, Colin. I think it's a great kickoff to the start of the new year. Actually, we're in February.
Yeah.
So yeah, the athletics kicked off in January. We had a first league meeting somewhere, I think it was the 14th of Jan. I know a few guys of ours was early in. They trained and wanted to check where they stand after the holiday season. So they've kicked off there. Then we had the second league meeting, which was the 1st of February. CGA Champs at Germiston, both competitions. And then some took part at the AGN, which was in Pilditch. So guys were just sharpening, getting some times in. And then last weekend, we had the third CGA Championships or league meeting, where also we saw quite a few of our guys competing. Majority of the club, since the students came back, registered, they sort of settled in. Because remember, it's quite tricky, beginning of January, getting the guys back to routine from home after spending almost 3-4 weeks, and you've gave them programs so you can see who trained, who doesn't train. So I think it was in February, there was a classic shootout, Akani Simbini in Pretoria, incorporated with the Kiro podium. We were fortunate to have our athletes invited in the prospective events. I think there was a 600 male female, there was a 300 meters male female, and there was a 60 meter just for the males, and then a 150. So we had athletes in the events from the 300. We had Udime and we had Shelly running in, which both actually won. So Shelly, well. Actually getting goosebumps just speaking about it. So Udime ran a fantastic time. PB, I think it was a 31.80. And yeah, I mean, I think it was the start of his season, sort of a tester with the coach to see where they stand. And I mean, I've been seeing him train hard. And the coach killing him and whistling and shouting. So yeah.
So we got to speak more about that,
we'll get to that. And then Shelly, that broke the South African record, that she dropped it down by a few seconds. It was a 36, it was a 36 high, the record before. She dropped it down to 36 low.
Her own record, by the way. Last year that she said.
Yes, sort of tentatively, yes. And then we had in the 150 also, we had 3 UJ girls podium 1, 2, 3. So we had Kayla winning the 150, followed by our newbie that came in, Sean, followed by Jovi being third. And then in the 60 meter, we had obviously Mr. Matsoso, not his favorite speed event, you know, he's more of a 200, 100. But then, I mean, he managed to be on Walaza there, taking the second place, and it was just short. But yeah, it's looking great.
So according to what I have seen so far, your guys, they look like they didn't even take a break during December. They've been pushing. I mean, I see that in the way that they win their medals. Let's speak about the first meeting of the year in Germiston, in the CGAs. 34 gold medals, 13 silver medals, and 8 bronze medals. That tells you that the team is running like a well-oiled machine.
So, Colin, here's the thing with us. Our Decembers are in August and September. So that's when we have, depending if there's international meets or not. So you'll find our Decembers or our off-season, or where the guys normally have a break, depending who goes where. We have some guys taking it off in June, July. And then normally the extended period where the guys rest and they have a shutdown is normally your September. And by October or 1st of September, the guys already resume and start. December, for us, it's a normal, we're already in January, basically. So when everybody else gets to January, we're already in February, March. So that's why you see that happening. So we don't have rest.
I know you guys are pushing. I always see you at the track, up the stadium as well, your athletes pushing throughout the year. But we're going to speak more about your athletes. Majority of your student athletes, of course, they are here at the university, but you do have club members who are also from high school, and that's where Coach Lyle comes in with Udeme, who breaks records. Last year, he did very well. He was trending in South Africa, by the way. It was just after the Olympics when they went to Lima to participate in the World Junior Champs.
Yes.
And he got gold there, and he was trending at the time. How do you manage their schedules, considering the fact that they're still in high school and they have to keep up with all these demanding schedules, world champs, training, etc.?
Thanks a lot first of all, thanks for having me on the show, Colin.
Thank you, sir.
It's quite difficult and it's challenging, actually. So I have basically two sets of groups. The guys that's almost finishing high school, that can provision or make provisions for their times in the morning or early afternoons. And then you have the kids, or the second group, that comes in at about 2:30, 3 o'clock. So we can have the sessions then, so it is quite taxing on scheduling and the kids as well. So, I mean, you go to school from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and then you still need to gather whatever energy you have, from that, to do the sessions from a Monday right up till a Friday, so it is quite taxing on the bodies and mentally as well, because there needs to be a switch.
Especially considering the fact that they are still in high school and they haven't really developed to your university student athlete who knows how to manage their time, etc. Are they all in local schools? How do you guys meet wherever you train? So do they come through? Do the parents send them there?
So they're all in local schools. So I have an athlete that stays out in the East Rand and then also in the South as well. So we just schedule a time. So normally my time schedule is 1 o'clock, which they can make provisions for to attend training. And then we just, they come through, whether it's by public transport or their parents manage to drop them. And then we have the session there. And then our sessions actually overlap with the next group. So by the time it's 3 o'clock, that will be the business end of the one session for group 1. And then group 2 will come through, start their warm-up, and then we'll only end around about 5:30, 6 o'clock, depending on the type of session that we have.
Sure.
So it's like a full-time job.
That's really taxing, Let's speak about the talent that you manage. Uteme Okon. That's the name that I think every South African can remember from last year. Please tell us about him. How did you discover him, or when did you start working with him, as well as some of the other athletes that you manage as well?
Okay. So Udime, I actually scouted him at one of these co-educational meets back in 2023. So I was coaching a school out in Bosmont. So they were in the same league as us. So we went to Eden Glen, the same high school that Akanyo is from. And I seen this kid run the 100. Very lanky, very tall, skinny kid. Nobody's got speed, effortless movement, So I'm like, I won't really approach him now. Let me see what he does in the 200. But I was already impressed with the 100. A lot of mechanics that we needed to tackle, but I mean, that's just raw talent. Looking at the 200, I'm like, nah, this kid's got something, You can tell that this is just raw talent. There's no coaching here.
So he specializes in which distances?
Back then, when I found him, he thought he specialized in the 1 and 2.
Oh.
Yeah. So now he actually specializes in the 2 and 4.
Coaches, he fought.
So Roger, how do you then, okay, maybe let's mention some of the kids that you work with, and then we'll look at the recruitment strategy for UJ Athletics,
So from there, when other kids saw Udime's progression, they came straight to me. Hey, coach, I would like you to come.
From the same schools?
No, different other schools. Okay. So it's basically, the athletics community is quite small. So everybody knows everybody, whoever the coach is or whatever. And I actually got approached by 2 other athletes, Andres Chizinga and James Chiombo. And they approached me and said, listen, coach, I'm having a tough season already as it is. Please assist me. Help me where you can. And bear in mind, this is already 2024, April, March. And, there's not much work we can do from now until the end of the season, which is in June, because they're not international athletes at that time. So I took them on board. I managed to get them to break their PBs. So within a space of 6 weeks.
PBs, personal best,
best,
maybe for
yes,
those that are.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I managed to get them to run PBs, break a lot of their personal best in each category, and then also get them to develop a new sense of biomechanics movements as well. So we basically overhauled their biomechanics and their running structure, the way they train, their gym regime as well.
Yeah.
So it was a total 360.
Yeah.
And yes, it worked out for the best.
Yeah.
God has blessed us with that ability, to overcome situations. And that was an amazing achievement. Other than Udime watching the other athletes, get to the level best.
Yeah. So Roger, you've got quite a large group of athletes within the club. I think about 300 or so, more than that even.
Yeah.
How do you recruit? Do they come on their own to join, or do you go out there to look for specific talent? And if you do go out there, what type of qualities do you look for?
So it's a combination, Colin. We got probably like 4 pillars. So you got the athletes side of recruitment, meaning the athletes themselves, based on reference. Them seeing, Watsibo Matsoso, Odimo, they're seeing a Kayla, they're seeing a Jovi.
So they come on their own.
They sort of inquire by them, hey, who's this, who's that? And then also on the same pillar, I have some of these athletes that coach at schools. And they see talent like Lyle said now earlier on that he saw it. So they, through them coaching at different schools, seeing and saying, hey, this kid is something. Can fetch this guy. The second pillar is the coaches.
Okay.
When you have a solid coaching group and force within the club environment that are performing, like Lyle said, that his athlete went to World Juniors, won it. You got Coach Renewway with his accolades. You got Leslo, Patience, Quincy, CJ. I can carry on and on. Even Leandre herself is a coach now at UJ.
Yeah.
In the Froze.
Leandre Giel.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's the newest member since last year. It's a Froze. And so all that also draws the athletes, because now Ralph spotted Udime, he coached him, and he comes into the environment and he wants to come to UJ because he's comfortable with the environment. He wants to be associated with that. He's familiar with everyone, and that draws it. And also the next guy at school saying, I want to be like him. Who's his coach? Oh, well, I'm going to come to now. So it brings him also. Obviously, the third pillar is when we recently go to competitions, and we also go scout your ASA juniors.
So seniors, you get to see
the guys
the
like Lau, so you go and approach. The coaches also go at different competitions, because remember, we always have different competitions, and then there's an interaction happening there. And then the fourth one, having fantastic facility, and UJ being UJ, and the club reputation as UJ Athletics draws the guys. They come themselves and saying, hey, we want to be part of this because we want to join. So some of them join the club, and then they get into the scholarship and the program. So those are the 4 pillars we work, and it's been working for us. So that's why I said it's a combination. It's not only one-sided. You have to hit from all angles. And the best is power of reference.
It's more comprehensive strategy. I can hear. So speaking of recruitment, by the way, those that still want to join, it may not be for this season, maybe for the next season. How do they get involved?
So with us, you can join throughout the year. It's not closed. Remember, athletics, we have track and field now currently hitting since the summer series. Then it switched over to the international side, and then the cross country kicks in, and then you have road racing also. So we have like 3-4 pillars of events. You even have race walking. So you get guys like the middle distance guys, they'll do the track, the longer events, they switch over to cross country, some run even road. So it's a throughout seasonal thing. So you can join anytime. And I mean, the fees are for scholars, meaning high school kids and UJ students, 500, even staff. And then the obviously outside member, it's 550.
Yeah.
It's an annual fee. It's standard fee, whether you pay now.
550.
Yeah, 550 and 500. Whether you join now or April, it's the same. And then you get a license number that allows you to compete at the CGA league meetings, ASA league meetings locally. It's like your license. You have to buy a permanent license, and you're affiliated to a club. And then you get also access card to use the facility to come and train. And you'll find sometimes the coaches like Lyle themselves around there that can assist and so forth, depending what event you do. And yeah, that's basically
Okay.
it.
So what type of athletic categories do you guys cater for? You've got sprints, you've got long distance or middle distance, and what else do you have?
So we cover all the events. We got throws, the jumps, the short sprints where you get hurdles. Even 400 is considered short sprints nowadays. To your middle distance, which is now your 8 and 15. And then obviously your longer distance, which probably comes from the 5,000 to 10 to 21 to marathons.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Ponch in Soweto does even the longer stuff, even Coach Elvis. And then you have cross country, which is obviously, it has also its disciplines of 4Ks, the 10Ks. And then we have also the road. And then the age groups, we have sub-youth. Sub-youth is under 13 down. So 8-year-olds, we have patients in Gila coaching a lot of the young ones, the youth ones, to the juniors, which goes from your age of 14 up to the under 19, which is your juniors, and then seniors, which is open category, even masters.
Yeah.
We have masters there, masters group.
Yeah.
So from the age of 35 to 40, I mean, I even have masters athletes there at 70, 60. They're running and they have a masters group and they compete and they also go to world champs.
Yeah.
There's also world champs for masters and African champs and all this stuff. So we're covering all age groups. And I mean, all the categories, anything to do with athletics, it's involved, we do it. But obviously we specialize more in track and field and cross country. And there's road also where the guys go in, but our main focus is on those big elements where the guys make national team. And I mean, we can't all just go to road.
Yeah.
You have a lot of clubs that focus on road. We specialize more in track and field and cross country.
Of course, yourself, you're a legend of the game. You've represented the university as well as your home country, Namibia, in international championships like your Commonwealth champs, Commonwealth Games. You've done Olympics in the past. You've done African senior champs in different countries all over the world. Who are some of the people that have come through the athletics club? I know the likes of Samkelo Khatebe have been here. There's so many names. Khotso Mokoena was here at some point when he got a gold medal back in the days. There's a lot. Maybe just mention, because I know some names, but I want this to come from you.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had Zak Visser also that came through, won Commonwealth Games, silver, African champs titles also numerously. We got him from Velcom. We had Rashwell Samai, took him from PAL, also groomed him and pushed him up. And I mean, he got even bronze at the World Champs. I mean, Khotso Mokoena was also here, but already he had his accolades going in. I mean, Radebe Samkelo, when you're saying, I remember he was in Res still staying, and then we went also to Commonwealth and he made medals. And there
went to the Paralympics quite a few
there was
times as well.
So many athletes. I mean, I've athletes that went to world students across country. They came just down the road from Forontu.
Yeah.
And they started off, they went on bursary, and with the guidance of the coach and pushed Kamsanka, basically.
Yeah.
He had no bursary, started off, worked with our coaches, he developed him. He went to world cross country, world students, and the FISU cross country, and came back with a bronze. And he got a full scholarship, and then he was a dominant force to be reckoned with. I mean, there's Ruben Ramalefe that used to be here at UJ also, from Rao to UJ, Jan van Defender. I can mention you different names. There's a history. Even Ezekiel Sipeng comes from Rao. At some point he was here and stuff. So there's a legacy and history that we continue with the new ones now coming in. Like Udim is there. You got Thibo Matsoso that won the World Students also in 2023. You got Jovial that's coming up. You got Cheswell Johnson. I mean, Cheswell Johnson down the road from Germiston.
Sisanda Dumisa, Precious Molepe.
You see, we can just carry on and on and on. So it's a whole groom foundation with the youngest coming. So you have your senior elders and legends, and these guys feed off this and see it, and that's what you want. You want that throughput.
So what I like about the athletics club at UJ is that you've got a large pool of athletes, and these are just not numbers. It's people that go to actually represent South Africa on international stages in different competitions. I mean, Sisanda got a bronze medal in I think it was Oman.
Pumelo also.
And then we also had Lyle Pillay.
Yes.
Lyle Pillay, who went together in the World Relays and actually helped Team South Africa qualify for the Olympics last year.
And they ended up, 6th, 5th in the Olympics?
Yeah. So he did very well there. I just wanted to find out from you the current crop of athletes that you have. Who are we sending to these international events that are upcoming? Be it the USAs in Pietermaritzburg in the few months' time from now, as well as the World and Junior Champs coming up later in the year.
Look, we have a great pool, and we got more additional pools. I mean, Belay's here in the stable also. I mean, we're looking at him going. We got Neo that went to the World Juniors. Wilfred him at that time there. We got Shan van der Merwe. It's a new addition that came in. We just recruited. She went also to World Juniors. She's been doing prominently now. We got Kayla. We got Jovi. We got Sibu Matsoso. I mean, I can go endlessly.
So the list is endless.
The list is endlessly. If I go down the list, I can tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, even our alumni, Sabelo.
Yeah, of course.
He is looking on fire.
Sabelo Dlamini.
Yes, he is on fire. I mean, when I look at the sessions, I'm like, numbers that he's hitting.
That guy is tops.
I mean, Cheswell Johnson's also back. He's doing an advanced diploma in transportation management. So he's now technically a student. I always tell the guys I brought reinforcements.
Yeah.
And the guys want to come because now, remember, besides on the field, there's an education element, and they know they get degrees and the pathways are set for after the careers in athletics. So it's not all about just performance. We drive a big recruitment based on academics also. Academics first, then we do the athletics part.
Absolutely. So some of the athletes who were not necessarily students at UJ, but they were club members and they've already done well in the past. You've got the upcoming ones. I'm hoping that Udeme, when he finishes high school, he does come to UJ. In the past, of course, we've had Cheswell was a student athlete. Then he went on to be a club athlete. But then you've got other club members who have always been outside, like Shirley Nekumui, for instance, who's doing absolutely tremendous stuff currently. Who are some of the people that you would like maybe to add as club members currently to your list?
I think right now there's a lot of prospect athletes from the high school ranks that these guys are doing amazing. You know, the list is so vast that I can't actually pinpoint who I can choose, but there's so much talent that, you know, on any given day, you can see that the crop of 5 athletes at a time, those pool can be. And the next pool, it can be that pool, you know, so it's fast. Without name dropping anyone, I think there's just about another 20 or 30 athletes that can actually come through and add to the strength of the Orange Army.
Yeah. So Udeme Ukon was the club sports person of the year last year, right?
Junior,
yeah. At the UJ Sport Awards.
Yes.
Age group sportsman, I think.
Yes.
That's the correct way.
Yes, that's the correct one. So who are some of the athletes that you would like to see compete in the World Junior Champs coming up this year?
So I think the World Junior Champs, Lian Kukumur is looking quite solid. You know, he ran the fastest time on the 400 meters in junior category this year with a 45.6, I think. And that kid is looking good. You know, he had some injuries last year that hampered him from, you know, proving his potential. But I think this year he's a force to be reckoned with in the junior category. He is one to watch out for on the world stages as well. I think that's all I can actually think of at this point in time. I could have mentioned a few others if we were talking about last year's under-20s, you know, but obviously they transitioning from juniors into a senior role. So that would be interesting to see how the transition goes from the junior role to seniors.
We can't wait to see
So basically what the coach is saying, it's early days.
Well, that's...
So wait till it unfolds in the season.
Yeah, definitely. So we can't wait to see that. I mean, you know, when it's athletic season, especially on an international stage, everyone goes, you know, crazy about that. We know that UJ athletes will obviously always be selected to be part of Team South Africa, and I can't wait to see that. Roger, we've got the World Student Games coming up later this year, I think in the middle of the year. We also have the World Championships as well as the the African Senior Champs that are going to take place later this year as well. Who are some of the athletes from the club that you would like to see being part of that South African squad?
Look, if I start with the world relays and stuff, I think with the world relays for the 4x4, with the chances, I think Udime is there, probably Pelé. We're looking at Shelley making the addition for the mixed relay, and the 4. Tsibo Matsoso is also on the cards with his speed. Even Ritsi Mulenga. He ran last year sub 10 in Europe.
Yeah.
So we have some good firing power. Kayla also. So the guys are going to be probably divided into squads. And then when you get into African juniors, we're looking at our juniors like Martha, that Nkosi, high jump. She got silver at the senior essays last year as an 18-year-old. She's still a junior. She can make it. Precious is moving over to the senior side now. She went to juniors. She's probably also eligible for the
She's
relays.
got more experience now.
She has also more experience, but now remember the gap. It's from junior to senior. It's the coach will tell you himself. It's not a easy, because now you're used to running in your age group and you're killing the guys. Now it's you got legends there waiting for you. So like now you have Pelé that's been there.
Yeah.
And that's also vast experience. Now you have to slot in there.
Yeah.
And now like for Precious now, luckily she trains with Shelly, so she's used to Shelly there, so they keep on pumping. But I mean now you have to also deal with, because there's no age. So there's quite a number of athletes. There will be even new ones that are going to make the world student teams that trained and just came out of nowhere. And that's the beauty of athletics. When you put in the work, you'll get that. And then everybody's chasing the world standard that's going to Japan. But remember, in athletics now, they've changed it. You get the world standard qualification or you work on the ranking, the world ranking. So each event has X amount of top ranked guys that they allow. So like for instance, in the sprints, if I'm not mistaken, there's 48 slots. So if 10 guys only qualified, reach the qualifying mark, they take the 11, 12, 13 till 48, whoever's ranked to the championship. So if you're in the 48 ranked in the world, you get a golden ticket to go to the world champs.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's all this, and with the relays and all this. So it's very important that you compete at Grand Prix, at local events, and build your stature. And then if you're fortunate, you can go to the European season, hit it, and you can get some more points there. Because they work on 5 top average performances, and they give you World Athletics scoring, like IAAF scoring points.
Yeah. I know Tsuso Matsebo had a bit of injury last year, hampering his performances. I mean, we went to Stellenbosch in April last year. He ran, but also there was a time that I think halfway through the 100, was it 200? I think it was a 200, Then he just stopped, running. He continued running to finish, but of course you could see that something had happened to him. Is he okay now?
No, look, last year he had a bit of a hamstring niggles. So I think with the off-season, with the coach, they pushed. He also did some rehab with Chad, our bios, and all the other extra stuff with our physios. He's 100%. I mean, he's running 60 meters, even shorter and faster, and there's nothing bothering him.
6.59 seconds.
Yeah, so he's moving. So I'm actually excited to see when he opens up with the 200.
Yeah.
I believe he's running this weekend, and I think next weekend he's doubling up 100 and 200. He already ran a 10.3 in the 100 meters this year. So he's healthy and fit. And that's sometimes the nature of athletics, where, you have small niggles due to maybe overuse or sometimes compensation issues in your muscles. So you have sometimes a bit of niggles. It's part of the game. It's not what we want. We want to prevent. But sometimes it just happens without knowing. I mean, if I will tell you last year also with Lima, how they had some challenges also before build up to Lima and some big major competitions where there was niggles, and it comes. It's like, remember, it's like if you have a F1 car, you always have a mechanic. You can have it perfectly set, and you go out, get a tire puncture or a turbo blows or something. Without you suspecting, everything was fine. So it's the same. Sometimes you push the bodies, and unforeseen circumstances happen. So that's why we try to prevent and prepare, and stay motivated and put in the work.
So both your athletes, I know you are a manager of the club, but you are still coaching as well, and he's fully a coach for the club. When you see your athletes breaking records, what does that mean to you as a coach? I mean, you had Shirley breaking her own record at the Agani Simpine Classic Shootout recently. Leandri Holzheisen also throwing 66.54 meters in hammer throw. And you've got Shirley ran her fastest time. Right, you got Udeme also running fastest time in the world, at least for the year. What does that mean to you as a coach? I mean, it should surely boost your own ego and say, I'm doing damn well.
Well, I can't take the credit, it's this has always been a passion. I used to compete. You know, God has steered me away from the competition side, and He steered me into the position of being a custodian for these athletes to bring the best out of them. Um, and for me, it's just amazing to see God's work in coming to fruition in the natural space. And for me, it's I can't take the credit. It's the big man upstairs. He's given me the opportunity to gain knowledge, to grasp knowledge and implement certain concepts in training, certain philosophies in training that seems basic, but we do the basics well and we produce results. As you know, athletics is a results-driven sport,
and having to be consistent.
Exactly, so it doesn't make sense for us to, hit quick times in training where just UJ knows about the times. It's important for us to actually prove those times where it actually matters. And with Udime running is 30.80, 31.80. It was just a test week for us. There was a 3-week build up to that in order just to get him geared for that meet, and it was just to indicate the where his body is at. So for us to have a world leading time, 22nd all time, world all time, and fun enough, just a fun fact, he actually broke the Dutch record that was set for 32.17. So he ran a 31.8, so he smashed the Dutch record. So yeah, that's just a bit of a fun fact. But for me, it's a proud moment as a coach. You sacrifice your hours, you sacrifice the time away from the family.
And to see it actually paying
off. It's paying off.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, but before I ask you that, I think I'll ask you the question. I'll give Roger a chance, but then you will both answer the question. So before I come to you, Roger, about your own work being seen with the students, we tend to see these athletes doing well at university level, provincial, even national here in South Africa. But then they go to, not all of them, but they go to these international events. For instance, what happened in the African Champs in Douala last year in Cameroon. The guys, when they left here, Sabelo and them, when they got there, they were pumped. They thought they can actually do very well. And they got there and they met other staff also, the tougher competition. Of course, there were other elements in the officiating, etc. But that's not what we want to focus on. Let's focus on the performances. They get there. A guy who was finishing first year, winning gold medals all the time, suddenly is finishing 9th, 12th. What happens there? What's the matter?
I think you can't even say it's a preparation thing, because in your training phases and blocks and planning, you have to plan and train for an athlete to either reach its peak there or peak at that competition, depending on the caliber of athlete. I think it boils down to a few contributing factors. It can boil down to the environment itself. It can boil down to the mentality of the athlete as well. If it's your first time as an international athlete, it can be very nervy. It's a new environment. It's new athletes. It's a whole new setting. It's not something that you're used to. So imagine you're taking an athlete that has never ran international competitions before, and just putting him in this pool of high-performing athletes, guys that don't specifically train in Africa. They in the collegiate system, or they're actually professional athletes with pro contracts, and you put them in this race. So obviously, with a less experienced guy, they tend to get intimidated, because your opponents. Some guys even tend to look them up before the race, which is a massive mistake. So they know who they're competing against, and if they fall victim to the notion of, okay, I'm just here to compete, I'm just filling in the lane, that will obviously be then their downfall. But if you go in there with a dominant mindset and say, listen, I deserve this spot just as much as you did. I worked just as hard as you did to be in this lane. we're gonna have a fight on our hands.
Yeah.
And that's that. But like I said, it's contributing factors, you know, that kind of lead up to that. And yeah.
What do you think, Roger?
Look,
First of all, maybe the other question about your
for me.
doing well. Yeah. First,
No,
before you come to this one.
Look, for me, with an athlete, when they beat their own personal best, that means that we're on the right pathway. And for me, besides my athletes, I look at everyone holistically. I mean, I get happy. I went to Lala, congratulate him, even the athlete, and I'm over the moon to saying, hey man, coach is developing, the athlete's going forward. It's happy, you know. I embrace that. So it makes me happy to see that. I mean, every time guys were flying out, call Renew, hey man, your guy's moving here. Hey, well done, whatever. I'll call Lyle. Doesn't matter. Leslo say, hey, congrats, we'll have a chat. So for me, it just makes me happy, because that means, remember, each one has a different philosophy. And you know, it's like I always tell guys, there's different pathways to Rome.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you have to carry this one. Yeah. Yes, there's principles, but each one gets a different route to there, and it works out. And that means our athletics is in a healthy system, and we're pushing forward in a healthy environment, you know. And I mean, if you look at UJ, it's a lot of young coaches. And you know, previous years it was a bit difficult also, because the older coaches would be like, always, the young men, hey, you must. And now with the young guys pushing and showing that, look, just give me opportunity. This is what we can do, and that makes me happy. And the athletes themselves. Going to the factor of international, it's a very difficult thing. You must remember, when you're here, you're used to a certain routine. You sleep in your bed, you're used to certain food. You go to, for instance, I was in Douala, in Cameroon. Food was different. Transportation was totally different. Sometimes buses are late, and it's a lot of things beyond your control. You find different countries have different cultures, different rules, different norms. It's the same like Lyle said earlier on. There's anxiety that you deal with, nerves if you're inexperienced. You get there, things don't work. Maybe you're irritated. And remember, when you're in a zone and you fit, small stuff can edge you and irritate. So there's a lot of mechanisms that the experienced athletes know how to control and suppress and deal with it to perform. Where the younger ones, it overpowers them sometimes. Yeah. But then you get guys that, I mean, when they went to the Brixton Games, I will tell you, Vodim, it didn't work out as they planned. He was ready. Yeah. But when he was there, it was a total different game because of the environment, the culture, the food it stayed all right, everything, but it overcome him. And he was supposed to take those guys hands down and win. And I think he was, fourth?
Yeah, fourth,
yeah. I saw with Lyth Pillay last year in the Olympics.
Yeah.
When
World
he
champs.
started,
last year, yes.
With the Olympics. When he started, he was way, way at the back. And I remember there's those events that you can still make up to qualify to go to the semis. And he actually, as much as he didn't start well, but you could see his progression was getting better.
They call it the repechage.
Yes, the repechage. And then when he went to compete in the repechage, he qualified actually to go through and participate in the semis. And then when he got there, of course, you know, he finished the
So going back to life, I mean, we had a discussion about the Olympics. So he had some unforeseen measures that happened to him going to the Olympics. I think he twisted his ankle at some point in training, so it hampered it. And he was sick at some point and then got back into it. So he had to deal with all that. And that's why you saw he was firing beginning of the year, at the World Relays, he was firing, everything was set. Even the Diamond Leagues, he came third and everything, it was all set. And then obviously that last few weeks build up to the Olympics, everything was fine. And then he had misfortunes with unforeseen measures, sick. Then obviously the ankle when he twisted it a bit. So when he went there, so he had to deal with all that, but he still put the fight on. And I mean, look, he got to semifinals. And I can guarantee you, give him the next Olympics will be a different time, because all of this builds the attributes to the experience to make you that world-class athlete to deal with certain stuff. Yeah. So we have the talent, we have the equipment, we have the coaches. I mean, it's just basically the mindset and getting the athlete and just building that perseverance of experience to that athlete when they get on the world stage. Yeah. So it takes one or two, you know, to get through it, to click. And then when you get there, I mean, some of us, we get to African champs, we don't feel anything. We're like, we know exactly. No, but I'm just saying, you know, but if I had to start my earliest season when I was young, I was scared. shaking. Hey, this guy, hey,
It
that
comes
guy.
with experience.
Now I sit there, relax. I can even see when a young guy is nervous.
Yeah.
Then you know exactly where to hit.
Yeah.
And I mean, with them, it's actually lucky. They just run. They're done. With us, it's like 6 jumps. So you can see the animosity and it's a back and forth and who's doing what. So you can, so it's a longer, we sit there for 45 minutes to maybe 2-3 hours, depending. So you can see what's happening there. With them, they get in the blocks, boom, overdone, sharp, sharp, out.
Yeah.
So for us, it's a bit tougher. So you have to be patient. You have to keep everything down, suppressed, and you know, you just have to you have to contempt yourself.
Yeah. In closing, Coach Life, I'm going to close with you, but Roger, in closing, you're going to speak about the upcoming events that UJ is going to host right here at the UJ Athletics Stadium. Your parting shot, sir?
My parting is, you know, it's been a good journey so far. You know, UJ has provided us with many resources. You know, Roger has provided us with many opportunities to, you know, provide or showcase talent. And I think they're doing a massive and amazing job. You know, the culture that UJ has set on the track, you can't find it anywhere. And that's factual. You know, you go to the Western Cape, you go to NWU, Turks, you know, that culture doesn't exist anywhere like it does here at UJ. You know, there's a sense of camaraderie around every single training group. You know, there's no animosity between the athletes. You know, it's a family because we understand that, yes, it's a competitive sport and it is a competitive nature. But the war is not within the establishment, you know. We go to war outside of UJ.
As the term says itself.
Yes,
Orange
Army.
Yeah.
That's it, you know. And I just feel, and I know that UJ's athletics group, whether it's students or club, it's just growing from strength to strength, you know. The coaches out there, they evolving, you know. There's not one coach I can say that, you know, that hasn't been evolving, because if you look at from the newer coaches like myself all the way to the experienced coaches like Roger, you can see that from season to season, you know, there's different techniques, there's different philosophies that's changed. And you can see that there's a massive improvement in those changes. So I think UJ is just moving from strength to strength. And like I say, it's just the beginning, but you know, we set that precedent, you know, that we are a dominant force, whether they go to USAs or whether we step onto the track to go to your provincial meets.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you. All right. And Coach, there's a lot of, you're going to host 2 events, I think. You've got the upcoming CGAs.
Yes.
And then you're also going to host some track and field. Please just take us through those events that you guys are hosting right here.
Okay, so on the 14th, 15th March, we'd actually want all the UG students to come out to the CGA Championships. We're going to host the CGA Championship, Provincial Championships. You'll see all your athletes from your Udima to Belays and all them competing, Matsosos, everybody's there in orange at the UJ Stadium.
Yeah.
You can say the Saturday, the 15th. I think the 14th, they want to do some preliminary runs. And then the 15th have the full program. And that will be the youth, juniors, under 23s and senior championships at UJ. And then on the 19th, we're going to have the ASA Grand Prix, the second Grand Prix that we had last year. We're also asking the guys to come with number. There you're going to see the likes of even Akani Simbini will be at the provincials and possibly at the Grand Prix, depending, because we all have to do provincials.
Yeah.
But the ASA Grand Prix, then you'll see all your international stars and athletes from South Africa and outside coming. And like we had last year, showcasing the talent. And it normally starts at 3 and it will end probably at 9. So we have a high package, and that's the 19th of March at the UJ Stadium. Those are the 2 events we're hosting. So it's high prestigious events. We'll run if the guys want to get associated and feel what is it, they should come. I'm not promising, but I'm going to try to get tickets for the students. Maybe like, hopefully they can give me 100 or 200 tickets free for you guys to come and support their own teammates and the university guys, and obviously other athletes. Let's grow the sport and get great performances.
Yeah. So for those that are watching the show, you would be the first to get the tickets. So please talk to us in the comment section there, and we'll definitely note your name. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time, and all the best with the rest of the season.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. These are the athletes that compete right here at the University of Johannesburg, and of course go on to represent Team South Africa on continental or in continental championships, as well as on the world stage. When we watch the Olympic Games in Paris or anywhere in the world, these are the athletes that we look forward to seeing as they represent South Africa. So please do come in numbers. You heard it here. 14 and 15 March 2025, as well as the 19th, the University of Johannesburg will host both the CGA Championships as well as the Grand Prix. Please come in your numbers to support the Orange Army. And of course, thank you for watching. As always, shout.